What's up, Couches to Condos community? It's your boy, and I'm here to talk to you about back to school tips. If you're a high school senior, you need to watch this, and also if you're in college, you need to watch this. So first things first, we're gonna go to high school seniors. And this year was very pivotal for me because this is where a lot of the scholarship money and grants and all that came into fruition. So the first thing you wanna do if you're a high school senior is schedule all of the college visits that you want to go on for the year. So anywhere that you think you may get into or even not get into, just for the experience, try to visit if it's economical for you and your family. The second thing you want to do, well, let me tell you why you want to do that first. The reason why you want to do that is because every college that you visit, you get so much information and you find out things that may or may not be online that you wouldn't have gotten if you didn't attend that event or that college visit. The second thing you want to do is apply for as many scholarships and grants as possible. There are so much websites and resources out there for you to be able to apply and get all the information you need. So please, please, please apply for as many scholarships as possible. The third thing that you need to do is, if you're in high school, I would like for you to get a part-time job. I really highly recommend that, just so that way you have some cash on the side. I was a buggy boy pushing baskets, and that was enough money for me to be able to save a couple thousand before I went to college. And it's useful. I hope you don't have to use it, but you need to have that money on hand because you don't want to put all that stress on your parents. So you want something that's not as, I would say, as laborious as I had to do, as a buggy boy, but sometimes you have to get it how you live. The next thing that I think you should do, I highly recommend, is find you somebody that is in college, or find you someone who, if you know what you want to do as far as a career or business, find someone who's in that field of business and try to see if they can take you a day on the job and just get a experience on the other side, because sometimes the grass isn't greener. For instance, I wanted to be a physical therapist, but when I saw what they did every day, that wasn't for me. And it may have been just because of that person I shadow was boring, but I really didn't care for physical therapy. So here I am. And I think the next thing you should do is, as a high school senior, is to make sure that you set goals and stick to them. So if you have goals on applying for this many scholarships, stick to them. If you have goals for this many college visits, stick to them. If you have goals on your grades, stick to them. And by now, you know how to study in high school. You know how to, finagle and finesse whatever you have to in high school. So please, please, please keep those things in mind, because deadlines do come up, and if you miss them, people are less lenient to extend them for you if you miss them, and you could have easily planned for them. So please set reminders on your phone, buy a calendar, put it up on the wall, do whatever you got to do. But there are so many deadlines that are going to come up your senior year of high school that's imperative for you to make sure you don't miss them. Now, talking to the college students, some of these things overlap, but it's probably only one or two, but there's some importance, and there's a different reason why I'm saying to have these now in college. So the first one is having a part-time job. And the reason why you want a part-time job in college is because if you did end up taking out loans, well, that could be money that you don't have to spend on your loans. It could just be cash that you're earning and you're spending that. And so you could leave the loans in place, and if you don't have to use those as a reserve, you can just go ahead and pay them back. Because remember, everything that you take out as a loan is that principal that you've taken out plus interest. The second thing that you want to do is try to find an internship or co-op where you can make money in a field that you would potentially work in, and get with your college advisor, get with career services and other resources on campus, talk to your professors, talk to people who are in the internships that you may want to be in, and try to get into those programs and internships, because a lot of times they pay more than you would make from a part-time job, and you can do it in a short amount of time. So I'm always about getting more with less, and I think you should too. Next thing I think you should do is take a foreign language class. And the reason why, preferably Spanish or Chinese, but the reason why I say that is because in this world, especially in the business world, you deal with mostly Hispanics and you deal with Chinese. And so it just makes more sense not to try to undermine German, French, or whatever other language there's to learn, But if you were to choose, I would highly recommend you take up a foreign language, just so that way you're proficient in it if you're not going to take the extra mile and become fluent. And just for speaking from personal experience, Spanish has worked for me. And another thing, college tip, be realistic with your class schedule. If you know you're not a morning person, don't schedule a 7:30 class. I know you may like the professor, but if you're never there to go to his class and you need, the curves to be in your favor and you need some help at the end of the semester for your grade, well, if you weren't showing up to class and you could have just because excuses that you overslept, I don't think that's smart. So if you know you're not a morning person, or if you know that you take naps during the day, you might not make a 4:30 class, don't schedule a 4:30 class. And don't schedule a night class if you know that you probably will miss it. And also don't schedule an online class, because my online classes were the hardest classes for me, because since I'm not physically going to a class, it was hard for me to take classes that I physically went to and then an online class, and it was just a nightmare for me. And the next thing that I think you should do is track your moolah. So in college, you're going to be making money, spending money, going to parties, but I think you should track your money and literally, a note in your phone, just you spent 25 cents on gum, you spent $1 at one of the bars, they had 2-for-1 drinks, whatever it is, like track it, because you'll really get to see your habits on how you spend, and then you can go from there and pull back and put more money into things that matter. So those are my tips on going to college, and for if you're a high school senior trying to figure out what's your next step, because you may not be going to college, but whatever your next step is, make sure that you're putting yourself in a winning position day by day, so that way when it comes time to it, you won't be overwhelmed. I hope this helps someone.